Now let's take a look at the airport information screen. The easiest way to get airport information is by using the little rocker keypad, putting the cursor on an airport so that it highlights the airport, and pressing enter. This brings up your airport information screen. The tabs at the top allow you to select subcategories, as in airport information, comm frequency information, runway information, approach information, Aopa information, and the METARs and TAFs. There are three methods of finding this screen. The one was using the pointer as I just used, putting the cursor on the airport and pressing enter. The next method is to use the direct button. By using the direct button, we enter in our identifier that we want to look up. Dublin, Georgia, DBN. Press enter, and now I press menu. We come up with a menu that says show details. I press the enter button, and it brings up my airport information screen. The third method of looking up airport information is by using the nearest button and looking at my list of nearest airports on the nearest screen. I can use the down arrow to select an airport, in this case Fort Myers, Florida, and press enter. And that brings up my airport screen also. Next, we're going to review each of the tabs at the top of the screen. The first tab is the Airport tab. This gives you the three-letter ID for the airport name, the city name, which fuel services are available. This has avgas and jet fuel, the elevation of the airport, and the direction and distance from your current location, and a picture of the moving map with the airport on it. If I zoom in, just shows the airport layout, the runway layout. If I zoom out real far, you can see exactly where it's located. The next tab at the top is the comm frequency. I'm going to press the right arrow to go to the comm frequency. This gives you a list of frequencies for the selected airport. Important to note on your list, if I got a little scroll bar, that means there's more frequencies out of sight. If I scroll down the list, I can find a couple extra frequencies, departure and approach in this case. Now, some other airports also show some extra detail in the comm frequencies. I'm going to go to Orlando International Airport, and I found the Orlando International using the direct to method of getting airport information. I put it in my go-to screen from the direct button. I press the menu button, show details, and I press enter. I'm going to go to the comm frequency using the arrow keypad and scroll down the list. Now I found a departure frequency that has a star next to it. If there's a star next to the frequency, when I press enter, it gives you extra information about that frequency. This tells you that this frequency is active between 181 degrees and 310 degrees below 5,500 feet. If I'm between 181 and 359 above 5,500 feet, I would use 120.15, and so on. From 311 to 060 below 5,500, they've got a bunch of different frequencies where they've cut the sectors around the airport up for different frequencies to handle. The next tab to look at is the Runway tab at the top. The Runway tab gives you the length and width of runways, whether they have lights on the runway, traffic patterns. If you notice the runways here, they've got a little drop down arrow. It means if I highlight this line and press the enter button, I can select a different runway, and the unit will give me the details for that runway. It's also important to note on the depiction of the airport, for each runway they give the left and right traffic for each runway. Right now for 17 left, they're showing left traffic. If I am to select 17 right, they're also showing left traffic. This one shows left traffic for 18 left and right traffic for 36 right. Next is the Approach tab. The Approach tab allows you to see what approaches are on the list, similar to the runway screen. I've got my ILS runway 17 left showing, but there's a little drop down arrow. If I press the enter button, it gives me a list of different approaches. I can select the ILS runway 35 left, and it shows me that my final approach fix is spur intersection, and the missed approach point is runway 35 left. The next tab is the Aopa Airport Tab. This gives you a lot of information. Gives you airport information, noise abatement information, FBOs located on the field, maintenance centers, along with phone numbers and hours of operation for all of those businesses. In addition to the FBOs and maintenance, it'll also give you information on hotels, taxis, rental cars, and restaurants in the local area. The next tab, after Aopa, is the METAR tab. This shows you the airport's current weather information. And then the next tab after that is the terminal forecast. We'll get more into the weather information on the weather lessons. The final tab is the weather forecast, which is more of like a weather channel type forecast, partly cloudy, general temperature. If you hit the right arrow again, it goes back to the first tab, airport. So I'm going to press quit to go back to the moving map. To recap, there are 3 methods of getting into the airport screen. One is to use the cursor, and to put the cursor on top of the airport and press enter. The next method is to use the direct button, put in your identifier, and then press menu and select show details and press enter. The third method of looking up airport information is to use the nearest button. I have my list of nearest airports, select the airport that I'm interested in getting information on, and press enter. That brings up my airport information screen. It shows the airport, comm, runway, approach, Aopa, METAR, and TAF tabs. And that is your introduction to the airport information and how to find it.